All right, Scott, let's just talk division races. Let's talk quickly because there's really not a lot of drama. Let's just say this. There's a lot of games where if the team that's not favored, you'll be a two-way tie. There's nobody undefeated.
Right. Every single division, someone has already clinched no worse than a tie. So the only thing we could even have at this point is a 2 or 3-way tie for a division title.
And we'll go quickly. American Division, you got Red Bank Catholic and Middletown South, both in contention. But Rumson's got to beat Red Bank Catholic in order for Middletown South, who's got to beat Donovan Catholic, to have a tie there. Could it happen?
Donovan Catholic beats Middletown South to get a tie.
Yes.
This is all predicated on Rumson upsetting RBC's a heavy favorite. They're old school Thanksgiving rivals, though. I mean, that rivalry goes back 50, 60 years, so 70 years maybe. So that you never know in a rivalry game, but certainly RBC the favorite there.
You're absolutely right. If Rumson beats RBC, then the winner of Middletown South, Donovan Catholic, gets a share of it right there. And then the Colonial, let's just say Toms River North is the heavy favorite.
Yeah, it's them and everyone else. Like you said before, look in the column with the points scored compared to the rest of the division. I mean, they're one of the highest scoring teams in the state. Their aspirations are way higher than just the division title. And no one is – I mean, I thought maybe Middletown North could come into that game unbeaten in the division, but Long Branch picked them off this weekend. I mean, Toms River North has blown the doors off of every single team in that division. And if anything, their biggest issue is going to be getting used to playing 4-quarter games by the time the postseason rolls around.
You can't outscore North. They're averaging almost 48 points a game. Constitution Division, Colts Neck is, they can win it outright if they beat Marlboro. Marlboro can make it interesting if they beat Colts Neck. Jackson wins. Jackson has a share of it. So could it happen? I think this is one of the games that could happen, though.
Right. I mean, I was at the Colts Neck game this weekend where they took a huge step towards taking the whole thing and clinched at least a tie, beating Howell 21-13. I think defensively they're really sound. They show that they have pretty good balance defensively, too, as far as slowing down the run game and playing the pass. Matt Selly, our defensive player of the week, the senior for Colts Neck, had a big game against Jack Gartenstein, the top receiver or one of the top receivers for Howell. Also had a pick six. So that game was 21-13, but it was Howell snuck in a touchdown there with like a minute left. But that's the one danger Colts Neck runs sometimes. They play such low-scoring games or, they feel like they're dominating the game but not on the scoreboard. So you're right. If Marlboro hangs around into the fourth quarter of that game, you never know what could happen there as far as them stealing one. And Marlboro, that would be absolutely monstrous for them as far as trying to make the state playoffs to get that win.
They play good defense, Marlboro. You never know. You never know with that. Freedom. Ocean Township is on a roll. Red Bank is in their way. Red Bank wins, creates a championship for Red Bank. And also, wait a minute, Brick Memorial could also – it could be a 3 – if Red Bank wins and Brick Memorial beats Brick Township, you could go to a tri-champs.
But, I mean, Ocean, Tyler Douglas all year has been unstopped in that division. There's nobody that has slowed him down yet. So certainly Ocean is the favorite. But Red Bank's playing their best football this time of year. Like, I feel like if they had played Ocean real early in the season, probably Ocean would have won big. But now Red Bank's got some momentum. Offensively, they're starting to put things together a little bit more. The real question is, I mean, you have two choices. You either find a way to slow down Tyler Douglas or your offense better put up like 40 points or high 30s if you're going to win the game. You're
right. You're right on that. Independence, Point Borough, St. John Vianney have to play. It took a little bit off the game a little bit, them losing to Raritan because we would have had two undefeated teams, but it's still a good game. Point Borough has yet to been challenged, really. They've been playing, I mean, the fourth quarter, they're just going through the motions. Games are 41-0 at half, and by the third quarter.
They blitz teams so hard right out of the gate that, like, they haven't really been – that's what I'm saying. I think if Vianney even takes them into the fourth quarter in a competitive game, in a weird way, I think that helps Point Borough.
Yes.
I know they probably like to win the division running away. Like, they're kind of like Toms River North where they've just been 3 or 4 touchdowns better than every team in the division, but – we'll see if that can, if Vianney can hang in there for the whole game.
It's huge how a team finishes. And are they just finishing or are they finishing strong? And Point Borough's, they're looking to win a championship, not only sectional, they want to win the whole thing.
The whole group.
Yeah. Liberty, Matawan Barnegat is going to come down to at Matawan. Barnegat wins. They tie with Matawan. Matawan already clinched at least a share.
What did you think about this division coming into the year? I mean, it didn't strike me as like, oh, this team's a clear favorite. Is this kind of the way you would have thought it turned out?
I just felt like it was a bunch of teams that really never played each other and also just kind of thrown in there. Matawan, Toms River East. You have Barn.
You literally have the top of the Shore Conference geographically in Matawan and the bottoms geographically in Pinelands. Like, that's the longest. That's the longest bus ride in the Shore.
You're right. Barnegat taking the trip to Matawan. It's a pretty far trip. Yeah,
right.
With that.
Right. But I think it's a great job by a young Matawan team too. I mean, playing a lot of young players at the skill spots. That's a traditionally strong program. So they're getting back in their ways of winning titles. I think this is a big momentum builder for them. Now we're going to find out how they are on the bigger stage. They got to play Middletown South. So we'll see, how they look when they step up in competition.
Well, they both got tough games because Barnegat's got to play Point Borough.
Right. So
good. And then the Patriot, we'll end it with that. Coach Kaz has got them leading that division all year round. And Keyport's been hanging around. And Asbury Park has to play Shore, which is the only team that could kind of upset Shore if they want. What would happen if Asbury won with the cancellation of last week's game? Do they have to play it? I mean, they only have one loss, too. Could it be a try?
Right, to be considered part of a team that gets a piece of the championship, do you have to complete all of your division games? Or because it's against a winless Keensburg team, do they just kind of say it's okay and not? But, that'll be an interesting test. I mean, because it's like, you should have to play all your division games to be eligible for a division championship. Again, Shore, strong favorite in that game against whoever they're playing in that division. They've been kind of definitely ahead of the pack there. So we'll see if there's any upsets. But again, I would look at Shore as closing that out. And to me, Shore, that the bigger game, we talk about teams testing themselves on a bigger level outside the division. Once some of the other teams we just mentioned, they got a game against Manasquan. I think that'll be an interesting test of where they're at.
Well, we'll talk about that later. That was just a quick little rundown of division races. I'm sure they're going to be good games, but there were no two teams, collision course, both undefeated, no dramatics like that, but there will be good football going on.